Hey, Cheese Rat. Just need another minute to prep. Alrighty, unmuting, transition, boop. Alright, Section 3 Aurora, looks like we're starting off with a fight against some sabers. Good morning, everyone. My gosh, that bed was just so comfortable. Glad to hear it. That makes all the trouble I went through to get the mattress just right worth it. Fairy beds are just imitations of real beds, so the mattresses might as well have been boulders before I adjusted them. I'm here as well. If you'd like, I'd be happy to play a song to help you all wake up. Morning, everyone. You're going out, Da Vinci? So you're not going to wait tables with your beautiful roller skating today? Sorry, I'm off to do some sightseeing. But don't worry, I'll help out in the afternoon. Oh, right.
Wait.
That was our deal, wasn't it? Hey!
Dude, why is Red Boy Hikaru in the Pokemon channel?
Huh? It's...
You look where he posted Red Boy. Yeah, he posted in the Pokemon channel too.
Yeah, because look at the background.
Wait, hold on. Oh. Oh, it's supposed to be Dawn.
Yeah, that Hikaru.
You cannot blame me.
To be fair, Hikaru is a pretty common name.
I believe her Japanese name is actually Hikari, not Hikaru.
That was my first thought, but, you know. I saw the Pokeballs in the background, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's supposed to be Dawn. Anyway. Hey, you there. I don't know which clan you're from, but you better not tire Da Vinci out, you hear? He seems like a nice guy. If a bit goofy.
You kid, oddly familiar.
Hmm? What's up, Silver Shinobi? What, something on your mind? I was just thinking the sky looks awfully similar to how it did yesterday. Oh, that? Yeah, I was surprised by that at first, too. The weather here never changes. It's got one sky pattern for day, another for night, and that's it. Dollar bills, money, dollar bag. Gimme ghoul. It does supposedly rain here sometimes, but apparently it's just always cloudy here. No blue skies. Huh? Blue skies? Your Britain's skies turn blue sometimes? Oh, yes. When there are no clouds in the sky, it becomes a beautiful shade of blue as far as the eye can see. Though that's not to say these skies aren't beautiful in their own right. So the same color as bluebells, then? That's what your skies look like? Wow. Then your world must be very bright and beautiful. The kind of place where everyone always smiles and helps one another no matter how hard life gets. Anyway, shall we start getting information then? Oh, and I need to pretend to be Silver Shinobi's owner, right? Oh, then maybe I'll try acting like a big shot and going to one of those restaurants I've heard so much about. Did you know they?
No.
Did you know they won't even let you into a Wood Roses without an attendant? Hey, as long as there are a lot of fairies there, I'm good with whatever. Okay, so let's scope the place out while we pretend to just be taking a walk. We'll also want to keep our ears peeled for any juicy rumors and talk to people ourselves at times. Take the, what was it that Han Solo said in Star Wars? Keep your distance, but don't look like you're trying to keep your distance. Alright. Have I heard anything about a fairy in iron armor? Huh? What was that? Did you say something? Oh, if you're saying anything, I think Discord's freaking out and you've gone muted.
What?
Oh, never mind. I thought I heard you say something, and then when I asked like 2 or 3 times for a response, I didn't hear anything.
No, I was just reading something.
Oh, okay. Have I heard anything about a fairy in iron armor? What, you guys interested in joining the High Queen's army? Don't bother. Nothing good will come from joining them now. This is the year Ainsel prophesied about, remember? The Child of Prophecy will appear this year and bring salvation to all. Who knows? Maybe the High Queen will finally cut us a break on our taxes if she actually takes a few licks for once. Huh? You're not looking to join? You're looking for a lost companion? Afraid we can't help you then. Iron armor? You won't find anything like that here. You'll have to go to Norwich for iron. They ought to still be making those silly weapons up there, at least if Spriggan hasn't shut down the mine. What kind of weapons, you say? What else? Swords, spears, bows, axes, you know, the usual. I swear, I never thought I'd see the day fairies would use iron weapons of all things. What could the High Queen be thinking? Still, at least the Child of Prophecy should do something about all of that. We just gotta be patient a little longer. Hey, have you guys heard the latest about the Calamity Pool in Norwich? They say Norwich's sky is pitch black now, even during daytime. There's no way they're going to last much longer there. Not with such calamity present. I mean, between all the iron, soot, noise, and humans there, they have no one to blame but themselves. But even so, I just can't help but worry. I mean, what are we going to do if Norwich refugees decide to come here to Salisbury?
Oh.
We have so much history here, and we've got too many Earth Clan fairies as it is. But Lady Aurora's so kind, I can't imagine her turning them away. You're looking for something? Are you searching just in Salisbury, or all of Britain? If it's all of Britain, these fairies here aren't going to be much help. It's so nice here in Salisbury that nobody ever wants to leave. If you want to know what's going on in other cities, you'll have to visit them yourself. Oh, but you don't have wings, do you? Well, that rules that out, then. If the Moors get you, it's all over. Anyway, I wonder what tonight's festival's going to be about. I hope it's another play about the Child of Prophecy and the evil witch. I love the part where the High Queen and her dog knight finally get what's coming to them. Worn out. Fed up. Dejected. Okay, so not much luck today, huh? I mean, I wasn't really expecting to find a solid lead in just one day. But all anyone wanted to talk about was the Child of Prophecy. They barely even listened to what we had to say. Indeed. That last fairy even tried to get us to buy some questionable Child of Prophecy merchandise. I haven't seen a whole city so feverishly excited about something other than Christmas. A child of prophecy craze, Sounds like there's a lot of money to be made there. Yeah, you haven't heard anything about conventions or 4th of July.
Yeah.
I wonder who this child of prophecy could be anyway. I said it before, I'll say it again. Castor Artoria's embarrassed face is just so cute. Yeah. The only other thing these fairies wanted to talk about besides the Child of Prophecy were the rumors going on around Norwich, the eastern port town. I gotta say, it's made me pretty curious about this Child of Prophecy too. I wonder what kind of fairy they are. If they really are planning to fight Morgan like the prophecy says, maybe we could even convince them to help us. What do you think? Should we try looking for this Child of Prophecy as well as Mash? Any fairy who can get the other fairies so excited must be incredibly strong and brave. That face. Good day, everyone. I'm back once again. Oh, not as many customers today, I see. Over here, Oberon. Hey there. Having a little lunch after your morning walk around the city, huh? Anyway, it looks like you're all having fun. Hope you don't mind if I join you. I'm a passable fighter at best, but I'm a master of killing with compliments. Much more peaceful that way. Here, I'll show you. Before long, I'll be heaping so much praise on Artoria, she'll be begging me for mercy. Oh no. Oh no. If it's anything we've learned from Anderson and Kiara, she's gonna need a safe word.
Beg.
Artoria? Why? Huh? You mean you haven't told them yet, Artoria? The Child of Prophecy everyone's on about? That's her. I just assumed you knew since she's got King Arthur's name and all. I mean, yeah, the thought did cross my mind once I heard you were named Artoria. But still, you, Artoria? Really? I mean, let's be real, you have less magical energy than most fairies, right? You might have better magical circuits than a human. Well, since you're a fairy, I guess they'd be Age of Gods patterns. Anyway, they're still below average for a fairy. Hell, even Mike there must be stronger than you. So, how can you be the Child of Prophecy meant to defeat the High Queen? Mood. I know, you're right. It doesn't make sense, does it? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know it's not right that someone like me is carrying around the Staff of Selection. Still, it's not like we know for certain that I'm the Child of Prophecy. There's a chance I might not be. Besides, I don't really have the guts to fight the High Queen. Or the drive. Or the determination. I don't belong to any of the clans either. And I have so little magical energy that I have to fudge it with magecraft. I can't even get close to the bells I'm supposed to ring. I mean, I do plan to do the best I can in spite of all of that. But let's just say it's a very uphill battle. Honestly, I still don't know why I was chosen. You don't think you can do this, Artoria? I don't know. All I can say is that if I really am the Child of Prophecy, then there must be some way for me to fight. It's why I was born and how I was raised. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm completely hopeless. The last time I came to Salisbury was to meet with the head of the Wind Clan. But I ended up deciding to try Manchester next because nobody here would even give me the time of day. I see. So that's why you didn't say anything sooner. Fairies can sense how much magical energy you've got at a glance. So I'm sure they only laughed when you told them you were the Child of Prophecy. They probably scolded you something fierce. They did. So I thought I'd start by convincing the head of the clan who I was. But they just turned me away at the gate. The head of the Wind Clan, huh? That'd be Aurora. Personally, I think you're pretty great as you are now, but I can see why you'd feel a need to boost your prestige. Well, if that's the only problem, I can take care of it right now. What do you mean by that, Oberon? I mean, I can get you a meeting with Aurora if you want. There. See how easily we got in? Take a look. This is the heart of Salisbury, the home of its great bell. Esk Cathedral, the oldest and largest building in all of Fairy Britain. Now then, Aurora's room is on the top floor, so what say we start heading up? I've already sent word of our arrival, so we shouldn't have any trouble with the whoop, hang on. Good day, King of the Autumn Woods. Your visit is sudden and unexpected, but we welcome you here all the same. However, it seems I must remind you that this cathedral is the holy ground, where kings and queens are made. The esteemed site of High Queen Morgan's coronation 2,000 years ago. As such, regardless of how much affection Lady Aurora may have for you, I cannot allow such lowly creatures as humans to enter, attendants or not. Guards, to me. Capture these unidentified fairies and that disgusting human. If the human submits, very well. However, should he attempt to resist or flee, dispose of him. That goes for Oberon too, of course. You needn't show them any mercy. We've received complaints about him from pubs across the city demanding that he pay his tabs. My. This isn't how I expected things to go. Oberon! If those are your orders, Lady Coral, then we'll gladly comply, but are you sure about this? Lady Aurora told us to let him through right away. She seemed thrilled about his visit. Don't you talk back to me. You may have been chosen to be guards, but you're still mere humans. Know your place. Unless, of course, you'd rather I turned you into a rabbit so you don't have to be human anymore? No, my lady. I'm very sorry about this, Lord Oberon. It really is nothing personal. We're just doing our jobs. It seems we have no choice but to do battle, even though their hearts clearly aren't in it. Come, Silver Shinobi. Let's show them how strong we truly are. Okay. Let's have Tristan as our support. And I'll switch Batty out for my own Tristan. If I could find him. There he is. That reminds me, I need to actually level that one up. Oh yeah, and I need to fix everyone's craft essences. There we go. And let's engage. Alright, good Buster Chain right off the bat.
Excuse me. I have captured you.
Let's see about... I heard that sound and my first thought was Hapapatakata.
Alright.
I heard the sounds you were making and my first thought was Hapapatakata. Pa. Hapapa.
He is the Baba Magoo.
Yeah, my mind went straight.
When you get to be a cat and you start making all sorts of weird fucking sounds at them.
Yeah, my first thought was freaking Dog of Wisdom.
And yet, Lance's first and primary nickname in this house is still and forever will be Bots.
Alright, let's try this, this, and this. And that middle guard's probably down. Never mind, he still survived. Not for much longer. そして我が運命をここに定めよう。アルテミス、アグネス、終点完了。行くぞ。Let's see. And Harp of Healing. Just enough.
アルテミスいないよな。
Yeah?
よし、じゃあ街に繰り出そう。女の子が俺を待ってる
Yeah.
はずだ。
I underestimated how good Tristan's Harp of Healing skill is. You see that, Coral? You see what Silver Shinobi and I are capable of? This is what happens when you look down on people for being human or having no money. Probably not a good time to point out that Oberon was just standing behind them cheering. Very well. It would seem that human is indeed not your typical expendable worker. And Lady Aurora does love rare and unusual things. It's part of what makes her so strong. Alright. Just this once, I'll grant you an audience with her. But don't let this go to your head. Rare and unusual things are only interesting the first time you see them. Once the novelty wears off, they become worthless. If I were you, I would try to make the most of this good fortune, as you won't have many other such chances in the future. Ooh, wow. Hello, Oberon. What delightful story do you have for me today? You know so very many things, so I'm sure it must be something special. Whatever it is, I can't wait to hear it. I could use some cheer after all the unfortunate news recently. I didn't think it was possible to go blind from sheer splendor until today. Why, yes, I have two things for you today. One is something you absolutely must know. The other is a request for a small favor. But don't worry, I won't take up much of your time at all. That said, could I first make a somewhat selfish request? You see, I'd like to keep what I'm about to tell you just between us. You don't mind keeping secrets, right? Oh my, you are a naughty one, aren't you? I don't usually care for scary stories, but a little thrill does sound like fun. Would you give us some privacy, Coral? Lady Aurora! It's all right. I know we can trust them, so it's only right I answer in kind. As you wish. But please don't hesitate to call for me if you should change your mind. You'll have to forgive Coral. She's a very proud girl, and she can be quite inflexible. She probably gave you a very harsh welcome again, didn't she? I'm just glad to see you're not hurt. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, friends of Oberon. I am Aurora, head of the Wind Clan and Lord of Salisbury. Now, what did you come to tell me today? Whoa. I guess it's no surprise that the whole mood just changed in here. Figure she didn't become head of the clan through her beauty alone. Well, you see, there's this stranded friend of ours we've not been able to find. Oh my! Oh my, oh my, oh my! How many years has it been since a human spoke so frankly to me? Ooh, how delightfully different. Tell me, what's your name? Are you a free citizen? What kind of pedigree do you... Ah! I'm so sorry. You already serve this fine young fairy, don't you? Oh goodness, how rude of me. Really, Aurora, you must do something about your tendency to take in every stray human you find. Otherwise, you'll eventually have every human in Britain living in Salisbury. And I'm sure you don't need any more resistance from your fellow clan members, seeing how you're the only one who favors coexistence. Yes, I know. You're right, of course. But when I saw those big puppy eyes of his begging me for help, well, I just couldn't resist. Good grief. Well, this is exactly why I brought him to see you to begin with. Remember what I told you before about Chaldea and the other world called proper human history? Well, this boy here is the master of Chaldea, and the two people behind him are servants, not fairies. Oberon? Don't worry, it's okay. Aurora here may be from Fairy Britain, but she thinks a lot like the fairies of proper human history. And while she'd never come out and say it, she's not happy with the state of things in Britain either, right? It's been 2,000 years now since Britain fell into Morgan's hands. And you've been here watching it unfold every step of the way. You think it's time for Morgan's reign to end, regardless of what form that end takes. I remember how your eyes sparkled with hope when I told you about the outside world. Silver Shinobi here has come to Britain solely to defeat Morgan. He's not even thinking about what happens afterwards. Suffice to say, he also has no intention of ruling in Morgan's place once she's gone. Once the Chaldeans leave, whether Britain lives or dies will be for you and your fellow fairies to decide. Chaldea is definitely not going to care if you try to save what's left of it. They'll gladly stay out of your way. Morgan is their only concern, nothing more. So it would seem. While that girl in the back doesn't seem very happy that you're telling me this boy here isn't denying anything you say. So you're travelers from another world, a Britain that went down the right path. It's still hard to believe, but maybe this too is Einsel's guidance at work. Either way, one thing is clear. Since we both have our own troubles, it's only right that we help one another. Silver Shinobi, was it? You have my permission to act in Salisbury however you see fit, even if your actions should be in opposition to the land of the Fae. If you're looking for a lost companion, then I'll lend you the eyes of my fellow wind fairies in the other cities. I can't contact my compatriots in Norwich at the moment, but I will have my wind fairies in Oxford, Gloucester, New Darlington, and Camelot help you in your search. You need only tell Coral what your companion looks like. I just hope my clan can be of assistance. Oh, that's great, but are you sure it's okay? You mean for me to help Chaldea? I see you're both a kind and honest boy, Silver Shinobi. True, as a citizen of Fairy Britain, perhaps it is wrong of me to help you. But I'm more concerned with us Fae folks' way of life than I am with retaining this land itself. The High Queen is a great woman, certainly. But the path we are on now will not lead us anywhere good. All that said, I'd still like to keep this relationship of ours on the down low for the time being. After all, you are the head of a clan. If Morgan finds out you've sided with Chaldea in proper human history, she may have all the Wind Clan fairies killed. So this collaboration should be kept quiet, so we can deny knowing anything about each other in case things come to that. All the Wind Clan fairies dead. So, not even you could defeat High Queen Morgan if you faced her directly? No, I couldn't. She could wipe us all out with one flick of her finger. I see. Gosh, she's really something, isn't she? Oh yes, she's a very special fairy. The only one who could hope to defeat her is the Child of Prophecy from Ainsl's last prediction. It's too bad this child has yet to reveal themselves. I can only hope they come save us as soon as possible. Devious smile. He's gonna do it. He's really gonna do it. How right you are, Aurora. I may very well be about to make your day. There's someone I'd like you to meet. Uh-huh? What are you doing, Oberon? Please, stop! That's right. Artoria here is none other than the Star of Hope who hails from Tintagel. Born alongside the Staff of Selection that will bring Morgan to justice, she's the one, the only Child of Prophecy. Go on now, don't be shy. Oberon! You do have some delightful friends, Oberon. I'd love to be shackled to the ground like that myself sometime. Why, thank you. I can't say I expected such a direct method of silencing me either. Still, Artoria would never say anything if I hadn't put her on the spot like that. She's kind of a late bloomer, you see, and she's still not confident about being the child of prophecy. So we were hoping you might be able to offer her your seal of approval. Say, for example... Oh, maybe she could ring one of the bells mentioned in the prophecy? Eh? Wow, even I wouldn't have come up with that. Impressive. No, that I'm afraid I can't allow. While there is indeed a bell said to be the voice of the Wind Clan right above this room, I can only let her ring it once she has proven herself to me. Words alone will not suffice. She will need to demonstrate her abilities so there can be no question. You said your name was Artoria, yes? And it seems you do indeed have the Staff of Selection. I still don't understand what the Staff of Selection truly signifies. The only one who does is Einzel, the head of the Mirror Clan, and no one has seen any member of the Mirror Clan for years. All I can do is see for myself whether you have the makings of a king. And how exactly do you propose to do that? Oh my, what a lovely voice. And here I thought you may be mute. Very well then. Out of respect for those dulcet tones, I'll tell you my conditions. Artoria, Silver Shinobi, I would like you two to show me that there is still hope for our world. So here is my test to see if Britain can still be changed. As you know, we fairies are plagued by a dark fate. Every 100 years a calamity befalls us, a curse that even Morgan herself has been able to dispel. For the last few months there have been powerful Moors For the last few months there has been a powerful Moors current winding its way through Norwich, a calamity pool. If you two can rid Norwich of this calamity, then I will gladly give you access to Salisbury's Bell. So that's the condition. Okay, this kind of reminds me of the beginning of Final Fantasy, where we had to go save the princess from Garland in order to prove ourselves to be the Warriors of Light.
We still need to do that white mage run.
Tell you what, I'll make that a subscription goal.
You heard him. We get 2 more subscriptions. He does it.
Not that low. Alright.
How low then?
Well, let's see. I have a goal for 50 subscriptions where I get to go through Pizza Tower and hunt for P ranks. Maybe 100.
Okay.
Let's see. So she wants us to get rid of the calamity in Norwich, huh? I didn't think she'd be the one to bring it up.
Excuse me while I go make 50 alternate accounts.
Alright.
It will happen!
What is the calamity in Norwich? I don't know much about these calamities either, since I've never seen one for myself, but I've heard plenty of stories. Apparently they're a kind of natural disaster that befalls Fairy Britain every 100 years. I've heard about these calamities too, and I've also already told Silver Shinobi about them. Norwich is a port town in eastern Britain, and apparently it's been showing signs that it'll be home to the next calamity for a few months now. They say there's a ton of black soot rising into the air that's gathered above it like rain clouds. Aurora said she'd permit us to ring the bell as long as we can resolve this calamity, right? So we need to disperse these clouds of soot, huh? Unfortunately, I've never learned any magecraft that could do that. Oh, that's okay. Norwich is a tall enough order that I think we can forget about it for the time being. Right now, our top priority is finding Mash. And now that Aurora is helping us do that, we should receive some word of her whereabouts in a few days. So all you guys need to do is wait at the inn until then. Then again, doing nothing might not be the best use of our time, okay. I'll send you a list of things you can do to earn money and gather information later then. Are you going off on your own again? Well, you know, I thought about what Coral said, and I probably should see about paying my tabs before I start racking up more. Okay, that's all for now. I'll see you again in 3 days. There. That should get them to rest up in Salisbury at least a little more. Meanwhile, I've got my work cut out for me. First, I'll need to go find out what's going on in Norwich. Oh, welcome back, Blanca. How's the situation up north? How far have Knocknoraib's forces advanced? Huh? Another child of prophecy has shown up there. I definitely wasn't expecting that. Einzel didn't say anything about there being 2 of them in her prophecy. This puts Artoria in an even more precarious position. I thought I'd have more time. Yes, of course Artoria's the real child of prophecy. That much was never in doubt. But it won't matter who the real one is. What matters will be who the fairies believe is the real one. Still, it's not all bad. Let's focus on the silver lining here. A false child of prophecy in the north is bound to draw Morgan's attention, which means Artoria and Silver Shinobi should be safe for now. That'll give me time to ensure they grow stronger. They're not ready for Norwich. They'll need to experience Britain for themselves and to gain the power to adapt to and conquer its challenges. Do we really have time for that, you say? You're a tough crowd, aren't you, Blanca? But you have to take your time with the opening act. That's how it was for us at first, too, remember? Aw. Still thinking about that meeting? Oh, no, I'm fine. I was just nervous since I'm not used to speaking with the head of an entire clan. Sorry, I've got a lot on my mind. I think I'm just going to turn in for the night. Let's meet up here again tomorrow morning, okay? Bye for now. Looks like we'll have to readjust our perceptions of her, too. Come on, Silver Shinobi, Tristan. Let's head back to our room. We should talk about our next moves while it's still safe to do so. Okay. That's everything that's happened so far, and a nice, tidy report. It's all yours now, Typhone. Take it away, my little familiar. There. That takes care of our report to the Storm Border. We should hear back from them in about 2 days. Now, let's go over everything we've learned so far. That said, our main topic isn't Morgan, but the Child of Prophecy who's supposedly going to defeat her, right? Yep. The truth is, we've been dropping our guard around her a little too much. At first, we thought it was just a coincidence that she shared a name with King Arthur, and didn't think about it any further. But we can now say for certain that she is this Lost Belt's King Arthur. I'm sure I don't need to remind you two that Chaldea already confronted the legends about King Arthur in the 6th Singularity. But I still think it's worth our time to quickly refresh our memories of those legends, just so we're all on the same page. The legend of King Arthur takes place in the 5th century, a time when Britain was in great turmoil. It began with the collapse of the Continental Empire. With the empire no longer keeping Britain safe, it came under frequent attack by the Saxons, a foreign enemy who crossed the sea to attack British shores. At the time, Britain was an island nation ruled by many different clans and those clans as kings. While there were always constant squabbles between the clans, there was also a war with the Picts up the north, where the clan's kings agreed to work together. But one king created an irreparable rift in this alliance. He used the other clans for his own ends, with the goal of ultimately uniting all of Britain. His name was Vortigern. He was said to be the avatar of a white dragon, born from Britain itself, made to bring it to ruin. Vortigern invited the Saxons to the Isle, throwing it into chaos. Londinium, the fortress city that served as the heart of Britain during the Empire's reign, was destroyed. Vortigern then defeated and killed Uther Pendragon, the greatest king in all of Britain. And so Britain entered a dark age, a time where none on the island could escape its imminent destruction. However, hope still remained. King Uther's most trusted aide, Merlin, the great mage who had long kept Britain safe, told people that this too was all part of the prophecy. King Uther has already chosen his successor. They shall be the next king. Whoever draws the sword of selection from this stone shall be Britain's king. Many knights tried their hand at drawing the sword, but none of them succeeded. It was only once the knights had all left, convinced that the sword of selection was no more than a delusion, that a young squire of 15, a boy who had been raised without ever knowing he was King Uther's son, came and drew the sword from the stone with no one there to bear witness. That sword was Caliburn. And that boy did indeed go on to become the King of Britain. Arthur Pendragon, the knight among knights. Or as we know her, Artoria Pendragon. After announcing himself as King Uther's successor, King Arthur assembled the lords of Britain and led them to 12 magnificent victories against the Saxons. In doing so, he proved himself an invincible king, the undefeated king of knights. But, unbeknownst to him, the Saxons weren't his only enemy. The greatest threat the king of knights faced came from within his own family. Vortigern, the avatar of the White Dragon who defeated King Arthur's father, Uther, and brought Britain to its knees. Morgan, the fairy queen who declared it was Britain's very will that she become its ruler. Morgan's machinations succeeded in robbing the king of knights of Caliburn, but the fairies gave him an even greater sword. That sword was Excalibur, a sacred sword forged within the planet's inner sea. In the world of magecraft, it's considered a divine construct, an ultimate weapon, meant to destroy that which threatens the very planet. In laying claim to the sacred sword, King Arthur became Britain's savior in both name and deed. After a climactic battle with Vortigern in the ruins of Londinium, King Arthur, with help from the fairies, built the towering White Castle of Camelot. Lords from all across the Isle came to Camelot to serve the King of Knights. They became the Knights of the Round Table, and where all were treated as equals. It's a bit odd telling this story with Tristan here, but this is how the Knights of the Round Table were formed. Lancelot, the knight from France, blessed by the Lady of the Lake. Gawain, the heir of Orkney, blessed by the sun. Tristan, nephew to the Duke of Cornwall, and the Prince of Tragedy. He, well, you, were also said to be a symbol of the Romantic period. That's right. Those are the proud Knights of the Round Table, my cherished friends who filled this 13 seats. Sturdy Percival, Clever Kay, Loyal Bedivere, Earnest Gaheris, Kind-hearted Gareth, Agravain the Enforcer, Palamedes the Duelist, Taciturn Mordred, and the greatest knight of all chosen by the Holy Grail, Galahad the Revelation. In addition to King Arthur, the first seat, you could also count King Pellinore, King Arthur's trusted advisor, and Bors, the future 11th seat, for 15 in total. At any rate, those are the Knights of the Round Table I knew when they were at their peak. Yeah, the Knights of the Round Table's peak is also the happiest time in the legend of King Arthur. While other problems would present themselves in the quest for the Holy Grail, and in the decisive battles against the Picts and the Saxons, It was the affair between Lancelot and Guinevere, King Arthur's queen, that changed things forever. Once their affair came to light, the Knights of the Round Table became shadows of their former selves. During an expedition to the Roman Empire, Mordred took advantage of King Arthur's absence and staged a rebellion. That was the beginning of what would later be known as King Arthur's final battle, the Battle of Camlan. It was in this battle that King Arthur drew his final breath. Bedivere personally returned the sacred sword to the fairies, and the final chapter of ancient Britain's history was concluded. After that, King Arthur's body was brought to Avalon, the paradise at the world's end, by the fairies of the lake, as the future king who would one day return to life. And that's the quick and dirty version of the legend of King Arthur. Thanks for listening. Oh wow, it's already nighttime. Yeah, so with all that in mind, let's get back to the British Lost Belt. In proper human history, King Arthur drew the Sword of Selection while he was still an unknown boy, and amidst the hope, envy, admiration, and prejudice of the other knights, ascended to the throne as king. Meanwhile, here in Fairy Britain, Artoria may still be unknown and unrecognized, but even so, she wields the Staff of Selection, and she was traveling across Britain on her own as the Child of Prophecy. So she's got the same name, the same face, and the same destiny. No way all that could be a coincidence. Which means Artoria Castor is this world's King Arthur. She's destined to be Britain's savior. Britain's savior, huh? But why now? King Arthur saved Britain in the 5th century, but this is 2019. If she really is Britain's savior, shouldn't she have known up in the distant past? Shouldn't she have shown up in the distant past? That's the question, isn't it? I'm not sure why her story's taking place now either. But I did overhear one interesting thing from some local fairies. Apparently the Child of Prophecy is the reincarnation of Esk the Savior, and was sent here to save Britain once again. Esk? As in the world tree from Norse mythology? Yep. Or at least it's the same name. See, once Morgan began ruling Britain, she officially named this period of time the Era of the High Queen. And the timing lines up exactly with when proper human history changed to AD. But while proper human history stopped in the year AD 2019, in this world, the year 2019 of the Era of High Queen is still unfolding. And the previous era, aka BC in proper human history terms, is called the Fae Era. Furthermore, during the Fae Era, there was apparently a fairy who saved Britain from calamities countless times. Esk the Savior. Apparently, there are only a few fairies left who still remember her. Ector the Immortal, Grand Duke Wasteheat Rhynek, Grim the Sage, and Totrot the First Knight. But they still speak of her legend in hushed tones.
Oh.
Just a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Thought I heard something. So, if a savior showed up in this world before, that may mean Fairy Britain has a system for such things. Something akin to the counterforce that the Isle itself uses to fight back when Britain was in danger. And if that's true, it would explain why Artoria was only born now, in this time. Plus, we're going up against High Queen freaking Morgan here. Who else but King Arthur would fight her? Whew. I wonder if Morgan really is still a bad guy in this Lost Belt. Anyway, that took longer than I expected, but now that we've gone over everything, I'm gonna make 2 suggestions. First, I think we should continue working with Artoria Caster. While we don't necessarily have to destroy this Lost Belt, it does seem pretty clear we'll need to face High Queen Morgan at some point. And when we do, having the Child of Prophecy on our side can only work to our advantage. And second, I think we should keep our goal, including Chaldea's whole deal, to ourselves. It's fine to tell her about proper human history. Hell, it'd be impossible to communicate if we didn't. But we shouldn't reveal that we've eliminated 5 other Lost Belts to date. I know it's not the most honest move, but sometimes not laying all your cards on the table is the way to go. Like I said before, there's something strange about this world, even for a Lost Belt, and there's still way too much we don't know. So until we have a much better understanding of what's going on here, I want to keep our goal at stopping Britain from disappearing. Even if we eventually end up having to fight it after saving it. Okay. So we can't tell Artoria about any of this then? That's right. I'm sorry, Self Shinobi. I know that won't be easy for you. But for what it's worth, my intuition is telling me things aren't going to come to that. I have a feeling we're going to save Britain, stop this collapse from destroying our world, and go our separate ways with a smile, without ever having to do battle with Britain. Alright.
やあ、いらっしゃいだね、マスター君。地道に
Let's
コツコ
see.
ツや。
Any way we can beef anybody up? I suppose I can beef Tristan up. Ooh, nice. That's a pretty good level up. Going from 51 all the way to 56.
そろそろクエストに戻る？いいよ。その代わり、戻ってきたらまた新しい話を聞かせる。我ながらいい。
Let's see. I think I'll want to grab a few more gems of assassin before I do any more skill level ups. Alright, next is, by the look of it, Berserker and, I guess, Lancer? Judging by the direction that thing is going? Oh, Caster. Never mind. I had them mixed up. Gonna want a Rider then. Yeah, let's bring out the Rider team. Morning, everyone. Hope you don't mind that I had breakfast before you. You gotta try this bread. It's so soft and yummy. Apparently they make it from, oh, right, wheat. Doing all right there?
Bless you. I'm allergic to dairy wheat.
Is using wheat for bread that unusual here? Seems that way. Too bad, since they have some of the highest quality wheat I've ever seen, even compared to proper human history. That's right. Da Vinci taught me how to make it. I had no idea you could use flour like that. All this time I've practically been sitting on a gold mine. So this fairy lives in the grand building, but he's ignorant of the true value of flour. It seems there are significant knowledge gaps between individual fairies. Or rather, yep, there are basically two types of fairies. Those who only superficially copy human civilization, and those who are interested in its inner workings. Most fairies are copiers who are satisfied just playing pretend. The thing about fairies is they can do anything without human technology, so they don't have to know how it works. You know how when cars get more reliable, there's less the need for drivers to repair them? And so over time, there are fewer drivers who know how their cars work? It's a lot like that. Whenever fairies feel like bread, they can just create some of their own magical energy. Easy peasy. But the bread they create that way is just an imitation of bread they've had before, like it was 3D printed. Basically, fairies can't experience culture without some kind of originating data to work from. Even Mike here used to be a typical copier. It was only when I started working here that he began caring about the details. It's true. I was a real dull fairy until I met Da Vinci. But now every day is more fun than the last. I love being alive. I used to think preserving humans was a waste of time, but not anymore. Lady Aurora's right. We need humans if we're going to enjoy our lives. If there's one thing humans are good at, it's making technology. They come up with all sorts of fascinating things you just don't see in nature. Sure, some of those things aren't fun or tasty, like iron and gunpowder. But I've come to think of humans as our equals now. Heck, I'd even say I respect them. When the last owner left this pub to me, I thought it was going to be nothing but a pain in the neck, but now I know better. We need something to live for.
Hello?
Yes? Yes? You can hear me, right?
Can.
I can.
Okay.
We can hear ya.
It was just
I just had to,
Yeah.
just had to belch.
Okay. We need something to live for. Something we want to do for our own sakes, not just to fulfill our purpose. There's no way I'm ever going back to just plain old living again. Well, there you have it. In general, fairies are really pure of heart. Or to put it another way, easily influenced. Oh, that's not true, Da Vinci. It's all because of you. Not even Lady Aurora ever got me to change my mind like this. Okay, Mike. In that case, maybe you could learn how to say my name properly already? What do you mean? I am saying it properly. Oh, right. I've also got a message for you guys from Oberon. He said to tell you to come to Salisbury's Fields for an important learning experience. Huh? A learning experience? Sounds like we got a job to do.
Da Vinci ちゃん参上。今日も元気に始めちゃおう。
Alright.
任せ
Let's see what we got.
登り火ドカーンと一発油断大敵ですなオレッジオレッジ
Okay, let's see. Let's have Carmilla drop a Thief's Calling card. Da Vinci, let's use Golden Rule Body.
してる。
And...
ピッチャービビってる
Alright. Boom, boom,
やる気
boom.
投げなくていいの？
ほいや
大事なものをいただくわ。
オレッジ
There we go. Okay. That's actually pretty good right about now.
オッケー、任せて。
やる気じゃない。
いくよ。頭上注意、気をつけたまえ。
忘れられなくしてやる。痛いわね。
boom,
任
boom,
せて。
投
boom.
げなくていいの？
いくよ。
Thank you, Carrie.
What?
頭上注意、気をつけたまえ。
Musician posting.
お行きなさい。
Oh. Alright, what'd he post?
Thank you, Carrie. Every
God
time,
damn
every
it!
time I want to sing it, but that song is so needlessly horny.
痛いわね。
That fucking song.
In my defense, that's not my fault.
No, that's the worst part.
私の
Yeah.
宝具、ふむふむ。任
That's
せて。
not in my defense, it's stuck in your head now forever.
Has to be freaking.
Uh,
Who was it that even sang that? Venga Boys?
どんな未来が待っているのも
See like this.
これを突破するのが私たちの課
I
題
only
な
know
のさ。
because of the meme.
ボンビアージョン。また会おう、諸君。
Because I think it's the same group that did that We Like to Party.
Oh, it is.
Oh my god.
いくよ。せーの。
Fuck yeah.
Let's hear.
Mira, yo
Nothing
sé
else
que-
to like social make a meme.
Yeah, we have a lot of songs.
Oops, didn't mean to.
So I'm looking at the CD right now, and apparently they made a song called Superfly Slick Dick.
What?
任さ
Have
れ
you
る
heard
You?
me right?
Heard him. Superfly slick dick.
You can look it up,
登り別
or I could just send a picture of it.
油断大敵ですな
Of the CD album thing, not a. Yeah. I should not be allowed to speak. I'm gonna just mute my.
You're fine, Carrie. You're
Uh.
fine. A little mental damage never hurt
下準
nobody.
備は十分よ。
How many?
I'm just not gonna say anything on that front. Alright, for this one. Alright. Dream upon the star. Alright. Queen Anne's Revenge, Testarossa Maiden, Beautiful Journey.
私の宝具、見たいのかい？
海賊のロマンバスターバスターもう一丁バスターウィンアンドリベン
視線を集めるグラマラスボディ、歌声にもイグゾーストも走れ、今宵を切り裂く我が幻想テスタロッサメイ
And it's dead.
さよなら、二度と会うことはないわ。
Okay. So that's how you're supposed to get rid of those pesky birds. I had no idea. I kept just asking them nicely if they would leave, but they wouldn't listen. Fields are delicate things. At times they require bolder
The
tactics.
birds.
To be fair, fairies.
Birds.
But I also understand and respect your kind inclination to not hurt the birds if you don't have to. So I suggest leaving a straw likeness of yourself in your field. It will help to deter such behavior. This way the birds will mistake that likeness for you and start by attacking that. Which should buy you enough time to do, well, something. Oh my, really? I never would have thought of that. Are you some kind of genius? Well, I wouldn't disagree with that. Pretty sure that's not how you're supposed to use scarecrows. Was Tristan always like that? Pretty much. He might seem like he's got his head on straight, but most of the time it's actually up in the clouds. Still, he can be the perfect knight, at least as long as he has someone to keep him on track. Anyway, the caveat that they're also fairy-made imitations of human society aside, what did you think of Salisbury's fields? They looked completely real. True. Regardless of how they got there, the fields themselves are the genuine article. Apparently, agriculture has been a big deal up in North Britain for a long time now, but it was never too popular in the south. It wasn't until Aurora stepped in that Salisbury finally got serious about it. I've seen small fields back in my village, but I've never seen any so big and open before. I wonder why they weren't more popular up until now. Well, we always had to abandon them whenever the Moors showed up. There aren't many Moors in the north, so there was nothing stopping them from making fields up there. But here in the south we see Moors all the time, so the only ones who could venture outside the city are really strong fairies. The Fang clan can apparently hold out for a little while by telling themselves that death and war are intertwined. But for weaker fairies like me, without any astrality, general knowledge of other worlds, we can't even touch the Moors without putting ourselves at risk. And even if the Moors weren't a problem, we'd still have to remake the fields every 100 years anyway. You're talking about the calamities, aren't you? Are you scared of them too? Even though you all live forever? Of course we are! The only fairies who can survive a calamity are the ones allowed to live in Camelot. All the rest of us can do is suffer and disappear. There's not a fairy in all of Britain who doesn't fear the calamities. I'm not even sure how much longer Lady Aurora can hold on to her glow. Not after what happened in Norwich. Make no mistake, now that a calamity has come for Norwich, Salisbury has to be next. And when it does, not even Lady Aurora will survive. What exactly do these calamities consist of? I'm not sure. The calamities have always been undefined. It's said they take a different form every time they appear. Let's see, I think the last one was a calamity of resurrection, which erased all of Darlington. I don't even want to think about what kind of terrifying calamity we'll see next. Why did I have to be born now? Why couldn't my predecessor have held out for just 10 more years? No, never mind that. Why won't the High Queen open up Camelot to all of us? If she would just let us weather the calamities for a year in Camelot, we'd never have to worry. I see. So you also have grievances with the High Queen. You know, there have been anti-queen movements popping up around the country. If you want to protest her decisions, maybe you could join one of those? Huh? No, I'm not that upset about it. Besides, I can't even imagine defying her. I might be afraid of the calamities, but I'm even more afraid of the Queen's army. There's more to the Queen's power than just having enough magical energy to cover all of Britain, after all. She also has a troop of highly trained fairy soldiers, as well as knights under her protection who command them. Tristan of the Bewitched Bow, Gawain of the Sun, and Lancelot, the Light of the Lake. As long as those 3 Tom Lin are around, nobody can hope to defy the Queen. Huh? Huh? What? I wonder why they're all so shocked. Oh boy. Emergency meeting, now. We need to talk about the 3 Tom Lin that have apparently been serving the High Queen Morgan this whole time. Also, you already knew about them, Altria? Well, sure, everyone in Fairy Britain does. Why? Are they a problem? Oh, yes. This is as shocking as Sir Bedivere when he first wakes up. Artoria, can you please tell us everything you know about them? Okay, I guess I can cover the basics easily enough. It's stuff every fairy in Britain knows. The 3 Tom Lin are fairies High Queen Morgan has bestowed with names from otherworldly knights. They're the most powerful beings in Fairy Britain, exceeded in magical energy only by the Queen herself. They're also impervious to Moor's corruption, so they're the ones who handle them whenever a group of Moors shows up. Come to think of it, they're known as the Guardians of Britain. Sworn to the service of the High Queen, the Knights of the Round Table. A fairy round table? Hey, no fair! I wanted to say that first. Why, do you all have some sort of attachment to the phrase round table or something? We are just talking about a circular table, right? Well, I don't see any way around it. We're just gonna have to tell her about what happened in proper human history. Artoria, our world also has a version of Morgan. Though in our case, it was during the 5th century, about 1600 years ago. There was also a certain king who defeated her, thereby uniting Britain and ushering in an age of peace. That king was known as Arthur, but her true name was Artoria Pendragon. Hey, that's my name! Quite a coincidence. It's not just a coincidence. You two are most likely the same person. What I'm about to say may shock you, but try not to freak out. In our world, you were Britain's great unifier, a king loved and respected by countless knights across the land. That's right, you were the ideal king, chosen by the Sword of Selection, and trained by Merlin himself. You did pretend to be a man during your reign, but aside from that, you were the picture of integrity. As King Arthur, you commanded many lords from all across Britain. Think of them as the equivalent of Fairy Britain's 6 clans. And from those lords, you chose the finest knights to be your Knights of the Round Table, a group of warriors with no equal. In fact, full disclosure, Sir Tristan here is one of them. So from our perspective, knowing that the Knights of the Round Table serve Morgan here is like learning that a group of heroes you always looked up to are now working for the baddest of bad guys. Can you blame us for being surprised? Are you listening to me, Artoria? Crap, she's so shocked she froze up.
I think she was just shocked that she learned that there's a wizard who can change her gender.
Wow. I guess I really am the child of prophecy then.
Send that wizard my way, I could use his services.
I guess I really am the child of prophecy then. Part of me always thought that maybe this was all just a big misunderstanding. but now I'm a little more willing to believe it. I mean, Grandfather always said I was born at the same time as the Staff of Selection. Maybe I really can do this after all. In fact, maybe I'll take a page from this Pendragon person's example and save all of Britain, too. Plus, we even have a Knight of the Round Table here. You know, when I first heard you shared a name with that Tristan, I thought you must be a pretty bloodthirsty guy. But now I know you were actually a Knight of the Round Table yourself. That's so cool! While I'm certainly glad to hear you speak so highly of me, what do you mean bloodthirsty? Don't tell me the Tristan here is... She's said to be the cruelest, most short-tempered, and wantonly violent of all the fairy knights of the Round Table. Her nicknames are the Fairy Killer and Tristan of the Bloody Heel. They say she's killed almost 400,000 fairies in the 100 years since she was appointed to Tom Lin. But you're nothing like her, Tristan. Seeing you fight beside Silver Shinobi is kind of like, well, watching a flower dancing in a storm. You always maintain your composure and strive to be gallant and do your best, no matter what the circumstances. There aren't many people like that in Fairy Britain. So the fact that you're putting your trust in me, even though we're from different worlds, is really encouraging. That's... Yes. Indeed, that is how I try to conduct myself. That said, I guess there really is more to being a Tom Lin than just the title, huh? Hmm? Hang on. You said that in your world, Tom Lin Tristan was appointed 100 years ago, long after Tristan from proper human history. So if this Tristan is the original, that would make the Tom Lin an imitation. But that would mean... Has Morgan known about proper human history for more than 100 years? Well, I wasn't planning to tell Artoria about King Arthur like this. But I think we should still be fine. Plus, we got to find out about the Tom Lin. Really, if we'd run into one of them without any foreknowledge, I think I might have actually died from shock. Anyway, while this Lost Belt's Tristan and Gawain may not look like the ones we know, the fact that they share a name must mean they have many of the same traits as well. So we can expect this Sir Tristan to use Failnaught and Sir Lancelot to wield Arendite. Speaking of Tristan, where'd he go anyway? He's in Artoria's room. Said he had something he wanted to talk to her about.
Oh boy. At least it's not Lancelot going in there.
The white dragon who tried to destroy Britain back when it was still known as the Isle of Ancient Sacraments. Vortigern, the cowardly king. The fury of Britain and the personification of its desire to reject the age of humanity. And then there was the avatar of the red dragon, born and raised in stark contrast to Vortigern. Artoria Pendragon. The king who protected the people of Britain, preserved its kingdom, and established the human world. While fairies in Sacrament may have faded away from Britain as a result, her efforts did succeed at preserving British culture and passing it on to later generations. Strength isn't what made Artoria king. She became king because she fought for Britain's future. That's also why her knights agreed to set aside their differences and join her at the Round Table. That's right. We all saw hope in our king. She was always cool-headed in battle, fair and impartial in politics. And above all, she truly loved all of Britain. Even with her small stature, she would face down enemies many times her size and strength, without fear of injury. She sounds like a really amazing king. Indeed, she was. I have never known anyone braver, more disciplined, or more proud. That said, even she didn't start out as a perfect king. After she drew the Sword of Selection, she trained with Merlin and Sir Kay day and night for years on end. And that is why you needn't try to rush things now, Artoria. It's not a matter of you sharing a name with King Arthur. It is a matter of you sharing her vision. So please, have confidence in yourself. I know you can do this. King Arthur. A truly accomplished version of me from another world. Man, that's amazing. She must have worked so hard. Another caster fight, so I guess I'll have to bring in Da Vinci again. All the fairies actually seem nicer now. I'm back! You should have seen me out there, Mike. I somehow managed to complete 3 tough Oberon quests all in a row. Oh, wow. Sounds like you're getting kind of desperate. Why don't you have an apple water? On the house. Oh, thanks, Mike. So considerate of you. You're really getting the hang of this pub owner thing. Aw, cut it out, Da Vinci. It's all thanks to you, my perfect angel. First, we arbitrated a dispute between a wind fairy and an earth fairy over who had the right of sunlight on a main road. Then we had to run a safety check on all the mysterious items, which turned out to be a bunch of bouquets that had been sent to the head of the Wind Clan. Finally, we had to subdue an out-of-control wind fairy who had been unlucky in love for the past 30 years and wanted to have romance with a human. Surprisingly, none of this was at all easy, but that does make completing them all the more satisfying. I was a little nervous at first, but everything worked out great. Oh, right, I almost forgot. You there, the human. Silver Shinobi, was it? You've got a guest up in your room, and trust me, she's not the kind of fairy you want to keep waiting. A guest? To see Silver Shinobi? So this is a human bedroom, It's not so different from ours. No, that's not right. We wouldn't even have rooms like these if not for humans. Really, we're the ones who should be thanking them. Oh, pardon me. So, you're back, human. You did well with the farm incident yesterday. As a wind fairy myself, you have my thanks. No problem. So is that all you wanted to say, or? We may have received word of your missing companion. Every human captured in South Britain is taken to a ranch out west, and a new human was brought in there 3 days ago. It may be the one you've been searching for. If you wish to go rescue it, I'll arrange for a guide to show you the way. Tonight, I'll have a few soldiers stationed outside Salisbury. You are to rendezvous with them and finish your rescue before the night is over. I also have a message for you from Lady Aurora. She said, I hope you find your friend there. Oh, thanks, Coral. Don't thank me. Thank Lady Aurora. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must return to my post. I don't know what it is that brought you here, and I know I'm in no position to offer advice. But you should know that the ranch belongs to the High Queen, and that it's very well guarded. So that's the scoop. Wow! When they said it'd take 2 to 3 days, I didn't expect them to actually come through that fast. Impressive! So this human was brought in 3 days ago, huh? Then we don't have a moment to waste. I don't know what kind of facility this ranch is, but now is not the time for cowardice. I agree. Oberon might not be back yet, but seeing as we have a guide, I'm sure he'd be fine with it. So, what are you going to do, Alturia? This matter really only concerns us, so we'd understand if you'd rather stay behind. I'd be glad to help. Plus, I'm dying to find out what the real MASH is like since I inadvertently used her name for a while. And besides, I'm feeling a lot more confident after these last few days. Be it infiltration, lockpicking, or brewing sleep potions, I'm sure I can handle it just fine now with my Merlin Magecraft. Great. You'll have to tell me more about this Merlin Magecraft later, though. It would seem those soldiers there are our guides. This is quite a surprise. I thought these soldiers would be fairies, not humans. Oh yeah, most of Salisbury's soldiers are actually human. They may not hold a candle to fairies when it comes to sheer combat ability, but they have no problem with using weapons, and above all, the Moors don't pose any immediate threat to them. So yeah, human soldiers are basically the fairies' Moors' countermeasure. Most of the clans treat them as disposable tools, but Aurora sees the value in human soldiers, even appointing the more talented ones to serve as her personal guards. Remember the ones we saw protecting the Great Cathedral? The fact that they were so strong is proof that Aurora's given those humans various rights. Are you feeling okay? Oh, just a little nervous. I've never been around so many humans before. Doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, I'm obviously fine with you. Quiet. They've noticed us too. Hey, you there. The suspicious-looking ones. You the outsiders Coral told us about? I can't believe you actually showed up. Why now, of all times? This is exactly the sort of pain in the ass I don't need. Oh well, if this is what Lady Aurora wants, then fine. Follow us. We'll show you the way to the ranch. Be warned, it's a 2-hour walk, so you'd better have everything ready before we get going. Do you? Of course. Thanks for doing this. Man, you guys are dressed in the weirdest clothes I've ever seen. Lady Aurora sure does love her novelties, doesn't she? Not very happy to see us, are they? They probably think of us as a bunch of annoying pests moving in their beloved Lady Aurora. Even so, that doesn't change the fact that they're helping us. We should be grateful to them for that. Come on, Silver Shinobi. I'm afraid we won't be able to talk for a while, but at least that should help us make some good time.
I got some steady cooking.
We're here. This is the West Human Ranch. Human Ranch? That's right. We used to live here too. We were assigned to a horde fairy who robbed us of everything we had, down to our dignity, before throwing us away like so much trash. Us stray humans had nowhere to go until...
I'll be right back. I gotta use the bathroom.
Alright. Us stray humans had nowhere to go until Lady Aurora took us in. We became soldiers so that we could win the freedom Lady Aurora showed us was possible. We support overthrowing the Queen, too. But we're nothing like the trendy rebel army who's counting on the so-called Child of Prophecy to bail them out. Rebel army? I've heard them mentioned before. Does that mean there's an anti-Queen movement outside Salisbury, too? Yup. The rebel army is situated in the old castle ruins out east. They claim to want to free all of Britain, and they even have the gall to call themselves the Round Table. Still, they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. They're led by a human who actually survived against Lancelot in a joust in Camelot. Morgan herself offered him a reward, saying that he'd proved himself equal to a Tamlin. Let's see. I think his name was Percival. Percival of the White Light, the man who reached the limits of human ability. Morgan was so impressed with him that she commanded him to join her forces in Camelot, even though he's human. But instead he refused her command and formed the rebel army. Hey, that's enough. It's too dangerous to stay here any longer. If anyone sees us here, Lady Aurora's the one who will pay the price. Let's just ditch these backwater fairies and head back to Salisbury already. I take it that means you guys were only here to show us the way? And that sneaking into the ranch and looking for our companion is entirely our job? You're damn right it is. Hell, you should be thanking us just for taking you this far. The Wind Clan might be good at everything, but they don't have the right temperament for combat. If Morgan ever thinks they're rebelling against her, Lady Aurora's as good as dead, along with all of Salisbury. Even knowing all that, Lady Aurora still asked us to help you. So you listen to me. Whatever you do, don't you dare mention Salisbury if you get caught. Got that? You better not bite the hand that fed you. Not if you had any pride in all being human. Okay, let's discuss our next move. I just finished analyzing the ranch's interior structure. From what I can tell, there are 6 big factories in the middle of the complex, and about 30 smaller ones. I didn't sense any heat sources in the big factories, so those are probably shut down now. But the small factories have lots of heat signals. There seems to be about